Hi, and welcome back to day 10 of the Living with Purpose as God Created You Challenge. My name is Shawanda, and I'm here to help you to live with purpose and on purpose. Now, we have been talking about how to help you to live more intentionally to have a more meaningful and fulfilled life. Today, we're going to talk more about going from existing to living life. Now, we've talked about doing some simple things to help you to live with purpose or to help you to start living more intentionally to have a more meaningful life. Now, as we've talked about those things, if you've been having a little bit of a struggle of stepping out and moving in some of the smallest, simplest things that we've talked about, it's time to ask yourself, why are you stuck in your comfort zone? Now, it's easy to live in your day-to-day routine or the routine that you kind of set yourself in because it feels safe. But the truth is that there's some fear that's involved in change because change can be very difficult, right? So we want to acknowledge the fear that you are feeling. And you're probably thinking, I'm not fearful, I just like what I do. But if there is this feeling of you like what you do, but there's a desire of wanting more, then there is still a small sense of fear that is keeping you from shifting from the routine to doing something different. Every time you try to do something different, it becomes a little bit of a struggle for you to do it. So we want to actually acknowledge the fear, because if you don't acknowledge the fear, if you're trying to dismiss it or just ignore it, then what happens is that fear is you're allowing the fear to run or control your life and keep you from the life that you deserve or the life that you desire. Now, here's the thing about fear. Fear will cause you to create the excuses about why you cannot do what you actually want to do. So remember, I said, you're probably thinking, I'm not fearful, I just like what I do. Well, that's an excuse to stay in your comfort zone, which means there is some fear that is involved to allow you to make the change. So remember, fear will cause you to create excuses about why you cannot do what you actually would like to do. Now, we come up with excuses to also keep us safe. And this prevents us from trying new things and taking risks. Fear keeps us from having to deal with possible disappointment, meaning if you do it, if it doesn't work out the way you think it's going to work out, if people don't receive you a certain way, if the end result is the way you don't imagine it to be, then you're going to be disappointment. But guess what? Here's the thing. When you look at the scripture, 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, God has not given us a spirit of timidity, but of power and love and self-discipline. That's 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. So here's the thing. We are called for the purpose of grace of God. We are called for the purpose and the grace of God. But we have to believe this to unlock the power of our faith and the ability to walk in our purpose and use the gifts that God has given each and every one of us. Because if we don't believe it, then we can't start walking in that thing. Sometimes we're waiting to see something and then we say, okay, well, if I see it, then I'll go ahead and step out. That's not faith, people. You have to believe it first. You have to believe you can do something. You have to believe you have the ability to do something and then step out and do it. And then believe that the end result is going to be what you desire. Now, we have to also shift from existing in a stagnant place where we do not see the fulfillment or the fullness of our gifts. Our talents, our abilities, and we have to start living in the doing. Okay, and I'll say that again. We have to shift from existing in a stagnant place where we don't see the fullness of our gifts, talents, and abilities to actually living in the doing. Okay, now in the doing, this is where we care less. All right, so we care less. We care less about being accepted by others or seeking the approval or validation of others. We care less about others' judgment, which basically has caused us to become paralyzed in using our gifts to impact others on a grander scale. So when we go back and we're like, well, we're thinking about the disappointment of how things are going to turn out. Maybe we're going to disappoint someone. Maybe something is not going to be the way someone else expected. Maybe we're going to try to do some small thing and it's not going to be some huge grand thing and we're going to let somebody down. You know what? So what? If you did it to the best of your ability, then that is all that matters. And you just have to be able to be happy with yourself and what you gave. Now, if you're not giving your best self based off of what you know that you are capable of doing, that's different, because you don't want to shortchange yourself. But if you know that you have given your best, then it does not matter if how someone else feels about it. The problem that exists in that situation is how they feel about themselves. So we have to begin to shift and accept God's love. And when we do that, then we're accepting the plans that he has for each and every one of us, right? When we do that, so when we accept God's love and accept the plans that he has for each and every one of us, then we can walk in the power and the authority granted by him to use our gifts to change the world around us. Furthermore, we can do what's right. We can just do what's right according to God. Now, we do what's right not because of recognition or fame or favor or anything like that, right? We're not doing it to gain notoriety because of our actions or how it makes somebody feel. We're doing it because we know it's right. And then because we know it's right, then we will have the result of it does impact somebody's life. But if you do it with the intention of, I'm doing it because I want to make somebody happy, you're not going to make someone happy, because you're going to be trying too hard just to make someone happy. All right. But if you do what's right, ultimately you will have the impact that is desired. You will bring joy to someone's life. You will allow someone to experience hope. You will allow someone to experience peace. You will allow someone to experience kindness. But if it's the wrong motive and the wrong motivation, which is all about, well, I'm trying to please, you will never actually please that person. What we have to do is we have to fortify ourselves, right? In order to get to this point, we have to fortify ourselves by lifting up our shield of faith. We have to fortify ourselves by lifting up our shield of faith. Remember, you have to feel good about yourself. You have to start gaining some confidence. You have to love yourself and just do the things that you love. Do what God has put on your heart to do. It's not about trying to please other people. It's not about trying to gain the acceptance of other people. You just really want to start truly living your life to the fullest rather than just existing. It's worth it. It's worth taking the risk. It's worth stepping out and not allowing fear to control your life. If you want to get over the fear of the unknown, step out of your comfort zone. Just take one small step. One small step. I mean, honestly, what's the worst that can happen? Sometimes we are allowing the perception of what can happen keep us from doing something, when the reality is nothing is actually going to happen. Nothing bad is actually going to happen. So take that step out. So here's your exercise that you can do. I challenge you to pick one thing, one activity, just something to do this week. Do it today. Take an action and don't allow fear to keep you from living a full and purposeful life. Try one small thing. If you have to go back and watch the videos that from previous days that talks about the list of things that you can do, go back, watch the videos again. If you need to, fast forward through them and just go through the list. But go through the list of things, whether it's just spending time with family, changing your routine, take a day off and spend time with your loved ones, do something out of your normal routine, and don't be afraid to make the change. Don't let fear run and ruin your life. Don't let fear keep you from having the life that you desire and the life that you deserve. I hope this has been a blessing to you, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get the notifications to receive your messages each and every day. Have a blessed day.